Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Okay, now let's have a hand for our first speaker, Marko.
I'm Marko, I'm an alcoholic. I feel very lucky today. Thank you, Willis, for giving me the, as I like to say, an honor to speak in front of Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay. What it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. I always feel like, I don't feel like Shecky Green warming the room up tonight for Frank, but I do feel sometimes almost like a TV show in my head, my program, you know. It's like Dragnet, you know, Joe Friday, I got a badge. You know, for me it was like, you know, dun 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 dun, October 24th, 1991. Bob Timmons poured me into a plane and sent me to Sierra Tucson, where I got sober. I wear a badge. I'm Marko. I'm an alcoholic. You know, dun 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 da 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 da. Here he goes to fight crime and make things better. It's the way it should be. You know, it's not always that way, but it should be. In my head, it's that way every day. You know, but that's my head, Marko world. I get a free e-ticket every day to go there if I want to go there, you know. But, you know, I really want to talk to the newcomers more than anything tonight, because I was a newcomer, believe it or not, at one time, and could be at any given minute, and I try to stay aware of that. But, you know, can I just see the hands of the newcomers under 30 days? Great, welcome. I'm really glad you're here. I love every one of you. You know, you make the difference. You know, they say you're the lifeblood of this program, and what that means is we get to learn through your experiences to remind us where we came from and hopefully keep us where we are today. You know, and, you know, I want to talk to the people that didn't just raise their hand, because that was me, you know. When I first got sober, after my 35-day treatment at Sierra Tucson, which, by the way, when I went away, a very good friend of mine who turned me on to Bob, who poured me into my seat that took me to Sierra Tucson, had written me a letter, and he said, I want you to open it when you get there, you know. And I got to Sierra Tucson, checked in, went through the metal detectors, got the whole shakedown, and, you know, checked me all out, and took my razor blades and, you know, my gummy bears and whatever else I had, you know. And I opened the letter, and the letter said basically, you know, you have the time of your life in front of you. You have a chance to make a difference. You have a chance to change the course of your life to this point. You know, you have a chance to make it better. You know, and when I hit my bottom, it was amazing, because when I hit my bottom, the one thing I wanted to do is not drink and not do drugs. All I wanted to do is get better, because I knew I was at the end of my rope for whatever reason. You know, and when I read this letter, it just really rang true to me, you know, because I was a guy who sat at the back of the bus, always sat in the back of the class, didn't want to show up, but was there, but didn't show up. You know, one of these people that goes to meetings all the time, but doesn't work the steps and wonders why things suck, you know. It's the difference, you know. And when I went into this treatment center, I really made a point to pay attention, you know, and at Sierra Tucson, there were tons of sex addicts, food addicts, you know, alcoholics, narc addicts, you know, whatever. It was a real potpourri. And it'd be funny, at the end of the night, you know, we all had our little casitas that were like these little clubs. You know, there'd be people behind the building, like, kind of getting it on quick, and it'd be like a spotlight would come on them, and they'd go, you're out, you know. And there'd be some people with, like, Cheetos in the bathroom, like, and a spotlight comes on them, you're out, you know. I didn't want to be one of those people, you know. My first night at Sierra Tucson, I'd never really been out in the mountains, you know, because Sierra Tucson it's backed into the base of this mountain, and like around 10 at night, the coyotes kick in. I thought it was fucking Indians. I mean, I was losing. I swear to God, I was crazy. It was it's all like, it was like, I thought I was detoxing, you know. But seriously. I drank like any good alcoholic. I really tried. You know, I could tell you a bunch of stories, but it doesn't matter. I drank too. I always thought I had a high bottom because I drink with my pinky out. I swear to God, I did it today. I was drinking a cup of coffee and I was like this. I was going, high bottom. You know, I still kind of had a little class to me. Right. When I think of my drinking, what comes to mind is, well, let's see, I got sober in 91. It was like 1987 in New York for a convention at 6 a.m., been up all night. It was a hurricane with 77-mile-hour winds, and I was hanging out the 34th story window of my hotel room because I thought it was cute because they were looking for me. Those are the things I did. You know, I remember driving in the back of this Mustang convertible going to a club in Orlando out of my brains, you know, just tooted out of my medulla, whatever, gone, you know, and believing that I could climb out the back of that car because there was a luggage rack on the trunk, and no matter we were going 120, it didn't matter. I wouldn't fall off because I could just hold on, you know. I had this Superman complex that I really believed when I was loaded I could do anything, and I did anything, you know, and it was like after I got sober, I spent about a year and a half wondering in sobriety if I was definitely an alcoholic. You know, and that's a drag. And if you've been there, I'm going to tell you, get over it. Because you're not here just for fun, you know. Because, I mean, a year and a half in, I finally realized I was a stone-cold alcoholic because I started listening more, I started paying more attention, I started working the steps, and I started realizing how sick I was. You know, because the ism was still in me. My mind, even though I wasn't drinking, my mind was just blasting off, you know. And I really had to look at that. And I really got relief. So, you know, for you newcomers that raised your hands, welcome. The ones that didn't raise your hand, you're just like me, and I want to talk to you for a second. When I got out of my 35-day program at Sierra Tucson, I went to the Brentwood Men's Monday Night Stag Group, which was my home group for a long time. And I remember the first night walking up there. I get there about 10 minutes before the meeting, and I go upstairs, and I see all these guys, and I'm going, oh, Christ, I just want to blend in. I don't want to be noticed, you know. So I go in the bathroom, and I'm washing my hands for like the 8th time. And my soon-to-be sponsor walks in behind me, and I look up, and I go, hey, that AA meeting's right down there, right? And he goes, oh, you knew. And I was like, damn. You know, there was no hiding, you know. I was like, I had that spotlight of Sierra Tucson on me again, you know. So anyhow, I said, yeah, I'm new. And he goes, hi, I'm Rick. You know, nice to meet you. And I said, great, nice to meet you too. And went in the meeting, and they said, anyone under 30 days, please raise your hand and then stand up and introduce yourself. And I sat on both of my hands because I didn't want to be found out. And there was one guy in the room I knew from my business, and he was sitting across the room, and I just kept like trying to get behind people's heads so you wouldn't see me. And of course, as soon as the meeting's over, I stood up and went, hey, Marko, how you doing? I was like, oh, caught again. But the point I want to say is, I didn't stand up, and I wasn't recognized as a newcomer. And at the coffee break, I watched all these people come up and hand their cards and hug these guys and say, call me, we're going out for coffee. And I realized once again I blew it, you know. Once again I missed the boat, you know. So for you who didn't raise your hand, God bless you. Keep coming back, because I'm telling you, it gets better. And that next Monday, by the way, when I showed up and I said, are there any I was there.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think.
You know, I couldn't wait to be recognized and become part of it, you know, just to become part of it. And I'm almost 6.5 years sober. I don't really count my days, but I'm pretty close to know where I'm at. But in my sobriety, a lot of people say time doesn't matter. It's really about today, and it's definitely about today. But I know how much I've grown in my 6+ years. I've changed so much, and every year has been different. You know, I firmly believe 1 year is the highlight of this program. Getting a 1-year cake is, to me, it's beyond belief. You know, you can stack up 30 years and God bless you, but that first year is amazing to me, you know. And I always get a real rush when people take 1-year cakes or chips, whatever. But I mean, the 1 year is just a mark that really killed me. And when I had 1 year, I was a brainiac. You know, I knew everything about AA. I could tell you anything about AA. And it wasn't just me. I was lit up. My second year, I was dumbfounded. Don't ask me why. I got up to take a cake and I was like, thanks. Go figure. You know, and what I've been taught and what I've heard in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous is I am really glad I don't have a college degree, because I was told something that really stuck true to me, and that's keep it stupid. You know, the guys that are really smart can't get this. You know, there's so many of them that go out and die because they fight it, because they try to think it out. You can't think it out. You can't win by thinking. I'll tell you right now, forget it, shut it off, throw it away, and just listen. You know, it's take the cotton out of the ears, put it in your mouth, and listen. You know, they say, you know, fake it till you make it. That's because if you keep coming back, eventually, you know, you get it. You got to, or you die, you know. And it's truly amazing, because when Willis, thank you again for inviting me up, and I spent 3 weeks, like, as soon as he called me, he said, hey, we're going to speak at Malibu. I was like, oh, Jesus. I got all this time to get nervous. And, like, I woke up this morning, and it was like going to an AA meeting when you got a problem. You know, you walk in the doors. Before the meeting starts, you already got relief going. It's like going to COP. You were high in the car before you got it, you know. This is the same way for AA for me, you know. I go to a meeting, I sit in, I see a couple of bums, like, how you doing? And I'm getting better already, you know. You get the message. You hear the solution, you know. A guy, you know, I just want to touch on sponsorship. I think sponsorship is what's really made my life better, you know. I host a step study at my house one night a week, and one of the guys shared the other night, and he just said, you know what? He goes, it's really interesting how much solution I hear in this room. He goes, and I bet you all you guys have sponsors, and I bet you all you guys work the steps. You know, and it's true. It really changed my life, and you'll hear it time and time again. You know, go to meetings, get a sponsor, and work the steps, because it really, really will make a difference. And I'm just 12-step working right now, talking to other alcoholics, you know, getting a shot, you know, getting a big shot. And it's wonderful. And the guys I sponsor, you know, I'll take a bullet for any one of them, you know, and that's what I've come to learn about this program. I will take a bullet for any one of them, good, bad, and different. And that's what saves me, because the more I put out, the more I get back, you know. My daughter Grace says something really funny. I'd say, Grace, what's our, like, kind of code? And she goes, you got to be flexible, Dad. You know. And she said something to me the other day. We're driving across town, and she was like, I was saying something to her, and she goes, Dad, you know, you gotta stay in the moment. You know, she's 7 years old. You know, Lauren. You know, it's my higher power. You know, not really. I wouldn't do that to her. But, you know, these are the miracles of my life. You know, I have a 7-year-old daughter that, you know, she's never seen drunk. You know, she was 10 months old when I finally came into this program. And she usually gives me cakes every year. And I always say she's got a year on me. And she does, you know. And I love the fact that she gets to sit in my house and hear grown men talk honestly. You know, talk from the heart. Because she's going to bust every guy she dates when she gets old enough. Thank you very much.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. And if that shows up, the gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.